Welcome back everyone. The iPhone 13 mini just came out, so let's go and compare it to the iPhone 12 mini. Now the iPhone 13 mini is on the left, the iPhone 12 mini is on the right. Dual camera setup, but this one's diagonal. Now if you want to pick up either one of these things, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now to keep you guys some perspective, the 13 mini is the one with 2 widgets, the 12 mini is the one with 1 widget up top. Now here's the thing. There really isn't a crazy big difference in terms of the body between the two, but you can see the notches are actually a little bit different. So the screen sizes are identically the same 5.4-inch OLED panels, no 120Hz on these two, no true tone differences, exactly the same thing between the two, and they are feeling almost exactly the same in the hand. It was said the 13 mini felt a little bit more heavier, and that may be the case, but that is because of the bigger battery, which is a huge advantage for this specific phone. Now, in terms of the thinness and thickness between the two, now obviously we do have the notches. I didn't really think it was that crazy big of a difference, and I'm kind of annoyed Apple hasn't given us any more ability, but you can see there is a little bit of a difference between the two. Now, in terms of thickness and thickness between them, almost identically the same as well. I don't really see anything super crazy. Maybe the 13 mini is a little bit, thicker, but I don't really see it. And on the back, glass backs on both, dual camera setups like I mentioned, but the 13 mini is that, diagonal sensor. Now I have been getting a lot of fingerprints on the two, so you may want to get a case or something, I don't know. Lightning ports at the bottom, nothing else except the power button, and that pretty much covers it up on the outside. Now the main thing that I'm probably going to tell you about these two is that you're definitely going to want to pick up the 13 mini if you want a phone that's going to last you the longest. If you don't really care about, how long your phone lasts for iOS updates, then the 12 mini is still a really good phone. Like, I would not go from an iPhone 12 mini to the 13 mini besides any other reason, maybe battery life and speed. Other than that, you're barely getting a speed increase from the 13 to the 12 and all that stuff. And I would highly recommend you to pick up the 13 mini for battery life. Other than that, you're pretty much getting the same thing. Now I will do a speed comparison between the two to kind of verify that and make sure the speeds aren't super crazy. I already did it between the 13 and the 12. The iPhone 13 mini has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigs of RAM. With the iPhone 12 mini has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigs of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one is the faster phone between both of those. Okay, there we go. Now the 12 mini, like I mentioned, is on the right. The 13 mini is on the left. Let's go and clear all the apps in the background, which they are already cleared out. Let's get into phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And pretty much the same thing. And like I mentioned, 13 mini here, 12 mini here. Music, 3, 2, 1. And pretty much the same thing. I shouldn't have touched them at all. I kind of did by accident. The 12 mini seemed to be a little bit faster than the 13 mini here. So the app store is 3, 2, 1. And you can see, I think the 12 mini again was the faster one. Scrolling through, you can see both are pretty much the same thing. Not that big of a difference here, but there really shouldn't be as far as I can tell. Podcast 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing. Apple TV 3, 2, 1. And this app never works out properly. There's always these weird notifications and stuff. But even here, the 13 mini definitely was the far faster one. Camera 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing. Photos 3, 2, 1. 12 mini I think was the faster one there. Mail 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing. Now that covers up there. Now let's go and open up these third-party applications. Let's do Facebook 3, 2, 1. And I did mess up this one, so we're just going to load up the one in the background. Twitter 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing. Let's go and get into Snapchat 3, 2, 1. 13 mini definitely was far faster there. Fruit Ninja 3, 2, 1. And I think definitely the 12 mini I think the 12 mini looked a little bit faster there. So this is a very confusing one. I did not expect these two to be this close to one another. Let's get into Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And hopefully we don't have pop-ups, and of course we do. So let's just kind of keep this one going. I think this one may end up being much slower. So we did have a pop-up here. I do want to kind of put that on record. I will probably say the 13 mini was still going to win, but would it have been that big of a difference? I don't know. Quizlet 3, 2, 1. 13 mini was faster. Dropbox 3, 2, 1. 13 mini again was faster. Netflix 3, 2, 1. And both were almost identical. Let's go and get into Bofa 3, 2, 1. 13 mini again is a faster one, 12 mini a little bit behind, and we'll go and end it off with something like Fruit Ninja, which I already did. Stack 3, 2, 1. I think I already did this one too. Nope. And I think the 12 mini was probably the faster one there. So this was a quick one, like I mentioned. I will be doing a full speed comparison between the two, as well as a full camera comparison and all those ones. But in this full comparison, I mean, I'm pretty surprised how well the 12 mini did. I was not expecting the 12 mini to do this good. It seems like RAM is probably the same between both, but Apple really hyped up the A15 Bionic. They said this phone was so much more faster and this and that, and maybe it's faster in terms of gaming and all that stuff, but in terms of app opening and loading speeds, it's almost the same thing. But we'll go ahead and test that further in our full speed comparison. Now let's go and hit on the cameras. Now, like I just mentioned, they have almost the same exact camera setup. Now, there's a better camera sensor overall and bigger cameras on the iPhone 12 mini, 13 mini at that, but both can do 4K 60 and both can do 4K 60 on the front. There is this new mode on the iPhone 13 mini though. So definitely when it comes down to it, the 13 mini's camera I think is a better one. If you have to pick up one, then this one is a better one to pick up. But they have the same type of capability, the same type of ultra-wide sensor for the most part. Now you can see the modes at the bottom are pretty much the same. You have portrait mode, you have panoramic mode, which is great. But if we swipe to the side next to video, you'll see that next to the video on the 13 mini, you'll have this new cinematic mode. Now this is a really cool feature. I like this a lot. I don't really think it's like super like anything crazy. It needs a lot of enhancements, but it's definitely super cool and I'm in love with it for sure. Now with the 12 mini, like I mentioned before, this is a very solid camera. I've had very few complaints about it. I think everything I've done with this phone up until now has been perfectly fine. I think this camera overall is almost identical, like we mentioned, to the 13 to the 12 at that. But here's the thing, you still have 4K 60 on this and you still have 4K 60 on the front. The front camera of this thing is very good as well. You still have the portrait mode on this thing and this thing is not going anywhere anytime soon. I wouldn't even just upgrade for that cinematic mode because Apple may actually bring that to the 12 mini itself. But even then, it's not like a crazy feature just to upgrade because of that. Now for sure, and it's no secret, the 12 mini is, probably just a little behind than the 13 mini. The 13 mini is definitely the better camera. I mean, I'm not trying to hide it. I think this is definitely, if you have all the money in the world, getting the 13 mini is by far the better phone to do. But I just don't see that big of a difference, even under cinematic mode, which I've kind of tested, not on like just on this video, but with my personal 13 Pro. And it's not really that crazy cool of a feature yet. I think Apple needs a lot of tuning with it. And I think speaking as somebody who has a DSLR, it's not that crazy, but having that type of capability in your pocket is actually really cool and I'm kind of happy about it. And I was testing in a lower light conditions as well. So when it comes down to it, I think the 13 mini is definitely the better camera, but the 12 mini is still a really good camera for sure. Now this essentially covers up a majority of the main things I wanted to hit on. Now I still want to test the battery life. I think, between what Apple said, the battery is going to be much better on the iPhone 13 mini. It has a much bigger battery size too, so that's a big thing to keep in mind. But the main question here is, if you have an iPhone 12 mini, should you go and buy an iPhone 13 mini, or should you even just buy the 13 mini over the 12 mini? And this is what I'll tell you. I think the 13 mini is a very good phone. I think it has a lot of capability. I think it has a lot of quality and everything, but it's not perfect. I think this phone is very good, and I think it's a really good upgrade from the 12 mini. But even then, I would still probably recommend buying an iPhone 13, at that. But if you don't want to, then iPhone 13 mini is good too. But the 12 mini is so close to the 13 mini that really, if you don't even mind the battery life from this phone, there's not really a huge reason to go and update to a 13 mini. This is still a very good phone. They look almost identical. The cameras are almost the same thing as far as I can tell. And if you can get this thing for a much cheaper value, then why would you not pick this thing up, in my opinion? Now, the 13 mini, like I mentioned, is probably the better one to go. And I'd recommend picking this one up over any other phone. But it does make you think, if these are so identical, like there's very little difference, what is in store for the next iPhone 14? And that's what I'm more excited for. If you have to pick up the 13 mini, obviously that's a better one if you have all the money in the world, but the 12 mini is still a very good phone as well. So that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly, everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.